Hello and welcome to the Heart of Markness Plaguecast podcast. Sorry, Freudian slip. Shit is pretty weird, but it'll all be alright. So, welcome. This is episode 48, even though in between the last Led Zeppelin podcast and this one, I have done 3 non-Led Zeppelin podcasts in order to provide comfort and relief and stability to everybody around the world who is stuck at home and is freaking out and going bonkers. So yeah, I did a Pink Floyd podcast, a David Bowie podcast, and a Fleetwood Mac podcast, all with top shelf shows. So if for some reason you didn't get those, but you got this one, give them a listen. They're better than you think. Speaking of better than you think, Led Zeppelin. This is part 2 of the Long Beach show. March 12th, 1975. One of the best shows of 1975, by the way. And I'm going to use 2 different sources. Last week I used the source 3 because the Mike Millard tape only captures part of the show. Kind of the tail end of the show. Like Stairway, Whole Lotta Love, and all that train wreck. And Heartbreaker, which is awesome. How do we know it's awesome? Because you're going to hear it. Are you going to hear it right now? No. So we're going to use the source 3, where I don't have a Mike Millard source. Otherwise, we're going to use the Mike Millard source for this because it's better. So let's start off with, we're going to start off with Stairway from March 12th, 1975. The night before, March 11th, they were not that great. They were having, this is where the drugs and the partying start to manifest. And where the kind of plodding, noodling around very long songs happen. And when they're not on fire, it can get a little boring and sloppy and disjointed. But it is still a great tour. It's still Led Zeppelin. But this show, on the 12th, is them firing on all cylinders and just kicking ass and taking names and sounding great and having fun and being the best rock and roll band ever, hands down. But what about Kiss? Yeah. What about Kiss? So, who can we alienate today? All right. You're here for Led Zeppelin? I'm here for Led Zeppelin. I have Led Zeppelin queued up. So, let's play some Led Zeppelin. We're going to listen to Stairway, but not all of Stairway, because I think, if I remember correctly, Mike Millard, whose tape we're listening to, for some reason couldn't get to the show on time and got there super fucking late and just had enough time for this. So he starts maybe at the end of the first third of Stairway. And I mean, I don't think there's anybody on earth who's like, what my favorite part of Stairway is? The first 2 minutes. Man, before anything gets started, before there's no drums, I prefer that over anything else. I mean, it's nice, but you all know the song, so it's going to start off midway through, but before the band comes in. So, still plenty of time. Good solo from Jimmy, good drumming from Bonzo, high spirits, fun, and it's Stairway. You got to throw it in there because there weren't many nights when Jimmy couldn't pull off a decent Stairway solo, and it's pretty easy. If you're a guitarist, playing in A minor is fun and simple. And because it's a minor key, it's easy to sound more sophisticated than you are in your playing. And, you work the right hand a little bit, you can get a Spanish sound, you do some hammer-ons, you can get a flamenco thing. It's good. And we're going to hear Mr. Page do that, as well as Messrs. Bonham, Jones, and Robert Plant. So let's get going, y'all. We've got some listening to do. This isn't going to be as much as last week, but I am trying to give you as much bang for your buck. Here we go. Stairway to Heaven, March 12th, 1975. This is the Mike Millard sourced tape. Heart of Markness. See you in a few.
Does anyone remember
One thing I love about this recording is that when you hear the people in the audience, like the women going "ah woo" and stuff like that, you'll hear a dude throughout this recording yelling "Jimmy Page." You can hear every micro tone in their voice. It sounds like they're right there. The fidelity is incredible, which means basically what you're hearing is what Mike heard, what the people heard there. Just honest, authentic reproduction, and it's so impressive, and it just provides an ambiance. And then you just hear these people that are now, at least in deep middle age, if not just straight up old. These people who you can hear the youth in their voice, and in hearing these women, just the sound of their voices, I can hear the 70s, and I don't know how else to explain it. It just sounds like my early childhood, and it's such an added bonus in addition to the excellent music. And speaking of the excellent music, to hear Jimmy's 12-string go out of tune at the very, very end and hear him cut it out, that was professional. At the very, very end, when it was it was more like glap, and he instantly cut it out before your ear was even like, that doesn't sound right, and left it for Jonesy to, and it was top notch. It was super smooth, and I admire that. And in essence, it's Stairway. It's pretty. It's wonderful just to hear Jimmy just stretch out and play for 5, 6, 7 minutes straight on a fairly simple progression. It's A minor, G, F, F, G, A minor. So it's easy to play. Like early guitar players, if you learn your pentatonic scale and you learn the minor scale, A minor, you can noodle around in that and sound competent as long as you have a decent ear and know that what you're playing doesn't suck. You know what I mean? As long as you can hear that what you're playing is good and find an idea to go from here to here, you'll do fine. Okay, that was Stairway. And now we will listen to was. Oh. Somebody suggested, and I'm sorry I didn't write down who it was. I think it might have been someone on Twitter. Whoever it is, my apologies for not giving you the proper recognition. But they said that the Trampled Underfoot from this night was their favorite ever. Or just really pointed it out in some way as being exceptional. So I listened to it, and it is. And this Trampled Underfoot is, I believe, from the Source 3. This isn't from the Millard tape, I don't think. I don't remember anymore. But what the one thing that I want to say is Jimmy's guitar is very, very low in the mix, which is fine because he's pretty much just mirroring John Paul Jones. He's not doing a lot, and when it is time for him to go off at the wah-wah, you can hear it. It's just not a Jimmy heavy recording, but it sounds much better than the other choice, which was super overblown. Like when you heard that Stairway and you heard that low note, that boo come in and it's really loud. It's that the bass is really overdriven, and hearing it on the Millard tape leads me to believe that the bass in the venue was seriously, like the subwoofers that were powering, I guess, Jonesy's bass pedals were just, turned to 11. Anyway, let's listen to Trampled Underfoot. There you go. Trampled Underfoot. Next. No, okay. Trampled Underfoot. Much better than that. Led Zeppelin. I'll see you in a few minutes.
John Paul Jones, grand piano. That was thoroughly enjoyable. In a good shape, almost. Right, this is what am I talking about? This is another track from Physical Graffiti. This is a track that has many references to the automobile, which of course has got nothing to do with. It's called Trampled Underfoot.
Yeah.
Trampled under Jimmy's foot. Together. regardless of expense, we thought that we could bring you this spectacle 2 nights in a row. Regardless of the price of black beauties.
That was pretty awesome. I mean, it wasn't the best recording, but it was a fantastic performance. And what else can you ask for? Powerful, powerful Trampled Underfoot with Bonzo being really responsive to Robert singing and Jimmy's playing. And that's why I love the band. Tra-la. All right, we are 26 and a half minutes into this. What else shall I play for you? Oh, I could play that awesome Heartbreaker. This Heartbreaker is great. And it starts at the beginning. One of the things I love about this is Bonzo's drumming. I mean, it's always good. It's a great groove song for Bonzo. Yeah, it is actually, thinking about it. But when he begins, he does some hi-hat stuff with the that first of all, it's very cool, and I don't remember him doing that before. And second of all, it reminds me of a performance by the Grateful Dead of Franklin's Tower from 1976. And I'm not a Deadhead, but I like that song, and I like that that specific performance. I don't remember when it was in 76, but there's a part where Mickey and Bill trade that hi-hat, and then one would do it and then the other would do it. It was like a call and response, and it was really cool. And it just harkened back to I harkened back to that when hearing Bonzo do it, which just compounded the enjoyment for me. So I hope it compounds the enjoyment for you. So here we are, a great Heartbreaker that's a lot of fun and there's something in the middle of it you don't hear every day. But you're going to hear it now. Ba 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 ba. I can't find the cursor. You're stuck with me forever. Okay, here you go.
Bicycle clip was caught in our sock. Good night.
Good night. Well earned. That was amazing. That was fucking amazing. That was just superlative in every way. Oh, that was fun and that was tight. And Jimmy was playing some amazingly cool shit. Very, very cool. Yeah, what else you want to do? Nothing, right? Yeah, I know what you want to do. You want to follow me on Twitter at Heart of Markness. Join the Facebook group at Heart of Markness. Just search Heart of Markness Facebook group. Join. You'll be among friends. Your own, even. It's a cool place with really cool people. And there's like more than 50 of us, almost 60 of us now, I think. So it's actually a legit nice pod of humans, and they're all wonderful. So join. Heartofmarkness.com is my website where I post the podcast and, when applicable, a link to download the entire show. Like, for example, this show is already available for download on Heart of Markness because I featured it last week as well. So you can already grab this show, and you should. Heartofmarkness.com, and follow that page because that's where I put all my shit. Speaking of shit, you want to support this podcast? Of course you do. This is fun. And for as long as the plague is among us, I'm going to crank out sporadically just a bunch of podcasts for those at home under quarantine going bonkers. So I've got a yes one to do, and I'll get some more things going on. I'll always try and make it interesting. Always try and make it as informative as I can. Sometimes we're just going to listen to it as fans because I don't know much about, I don't know as much about Pink Floyd as I do Zeppelin or David Bowie, even less. But I pulled it off, I think. It was fun. Got a lot of positive feedback, which made me really, really, really happy, being a narcissist. So yeah, if you like the podcast and if you've got the money, and these are odd times, so no worries if you don't, and no worries if you just don't want to. But if you do want to, go to Patreon/Heart of Markness, look at what I've got for you, and if you can, do, or if you want to, do. But it's a free podcast, so thank you for listening. That's just badass too. You can also leave me a review on whatever podcast platform you happen to be on. That helps out tremendously as well with search engine algorithms and things like that. I'll show up more and be more relevant for things like Led Zeppelin. So that's hugely appreciated. But everybody stay safe, stay sane, stay compassionate when applicable. Don't go crazy. And if you go crazy, tell someone so they can help you with your crazy. Because this is one of those defining moments for everyone alive now. Kind of like the Great Depression or World War I or World War II. It's something that's going to shape all of us from this point forward. And I don't even think it's gotten as bad as it's going to get yet. But whatever, it may be great. I doubt it, but we'll get through it. Whatever it is, we'll get through it. So be nice to each other. Sorry, that was awkward and not needed in a music podcast. But thank you. I care for all of you. Take care of each other. Oh, speaking of patrons, I have to read out the roll of honor. All my patrons. We have thank you, you human beings who support the podcast and literally support the podcast and pay for the hosting and all the neat things that I do for you and will continue to. Speaking of neat things, T-shirts, stickers. I've set up my Cafe Press store, but I want to look around and see if, because it's been like more than 10 years since I last set up a web store for a site of mine. So Cafe Press is probably not the place to go anymore. So I'm looking at other options. If I'm going to sell a T-shirt, I want to sell a good quality T-shirt. If I'm going to sell a mug, I want to sell a good quality mug, because you're going to drink out of it, and etc. So that stuff's happening. Like for real. And the people that support all of this, thank you. Avi, Bill, David, Jeremy, Mark, Mimo, and Peter. Thank you all so very much. I love getting to know you guys as time goes on, and all of you that touch base with me on Twitter or Facebook or whatever. It's really cool just getting to know you guys and learning from you and getting feedback, and just, you're all pretty wonderful. So take care of yourselves and stay wonderful and be excellent to each other. And I'll see you next week.